It's spoilering time. Of course, Cordkillers is the program where we teach you how to watch what you want, when you want, on whatever dang device you please. But this is the part where we get to enjoy and describe the beautiful, tasty, juicy meals.
Sounds so sinister.
I don't think we've had such a sumptuous meal as these radioactive vegetables in a long time. I'm Brian Brushwood. He's Bryce Castillo.
My goodness. Talk about juicy. And hey, talk about juicy. This just night and day. A night and day watching this compared to literally anything else from today.
So, real quick, for those who don't know, we're trying to look at things from the past, and in this case, we settled on, okay, what is the highest rated Gilligan's Island episode ever? Mm-hmm. And part of what makes this unpacking so delicious is because Bryce ain't never seen a Gilligan's Island. He probably doesn't know that Sherwood Schwartz is the guy that went on to create the Brady Bunch and so on.
Oh.
Probably doesn't know that this series started in black and white and made the transition to color. But I bet he does know that the 7 characters who make up the castaways stuck on Gilligan's Island are classic archetypes. And I bet he does know that there was an awful lot of very old school vaudeville in not only this episode, but the show writ large. Bryce, what was it like to see Gilligan's Island for the very first time and to watch the very highest rated episode they've ever made?
It was kind of shocking. It was kind of shocking.
Okay, just every detail.
Yeah.
I just want you to talk me through everything. Everything from the super catchy theme song that everybody. Okay,
Some theme song.
That's an age thing. All right, everybody over 40 knows the theme song.
Yeah, we're gonna explain the whole plot.
The Professor and Marianne.
I was really struck by what the sense of humor was, what the actual aesthetic of what the comedy was of this, because a lot of it was like Gilligan just getting shrieked at and abused kind of heavily.
That was something that I think I might have known intuitively, but watching it, I'm like, oh my God. They just poop on Gilligan at all times. Now, granted, in general, we like our protagonists. If the protagonist is a projection of the viewer, then we like our protagonists to be low status. And granted, if you're going to title the show Gilligan's Island, then because you're calling it Gilligan's Island, you must immediately flip over and make him a low status character. But I did not expect them to treat him so low status. It was very low.
Yeah. I mean, it was, if you think of like a sitcom, a more contemporary sitcom, he was like the Zoidberg or the Meg Griffin character. Lower. I mean,
he was the Ned Flanders, maybe lower.
No, but I mean, a different show. But like specifically the one meant to be crapped upon, like even not the protagonist, right? Like nowadays sitcom protagonists are dumb dads by it statistically, but they wouldn't be like this. They wouldn't be literally tilling the field while captain
being made to dress up and bite down on a bone because the implied agreement is that he is to be the mule that does all of the work on this show.
All of it.
And his whole role is to be, aw shucks.
Oh, I guess okay, well, you're going to get your turn next, right, Huck Finn? Like, man. And then...
It was, by the way, again... Season 3, episode 3. That's what we're talking about. The synopsis of the plot is they're fishing and they catch a box of
Seeds.
vegetable seeds, and
Seeds.
only after eating them do they figure out they're radioactive and whoopsie doodle, that's trouble. Only it gives all of them supernatural gifts that they just can't wait to get rid of.
Well, it gives 3 of them supernatural gifts, which you're right, have no listed downsides.
Right.
The worst that we get is like immediately after they find out, they have like this I don't know, this, what is it called when you're just mentally, when your brain thinks you're sick and so it just pretends you're sick. They just like have this
Hypochondriac?
Yeah, they all just say like radioactivity, we're sick.
They all have hysterics and they go crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. But the other thing is there's so much to the idea of that. Like, what if our characters just got superpowers and all they do is the Popeye joke, they do the speed joke, and then the third, whatever, the eyesight, Legolas, your eyes.
Correct. The speed joke is the last one of the 3.
Yeah.
However, I'm really interested, given that this is the one 23-minute segment that you've spent with these characters. I do suspect that, number one, different era. So every time you come back from a commercial break, you have to remind everyone who you are, where you are, and why you're talking and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And the archetypes, I actually do think are quite good. You have the Captain and Gilligan, which is Laurel and Hardy, right? Or what's the other one? Abbott and Costello, right?
Okay.
I guess the professor is just awesome at everything and secretly crushing all of the females.
Okay.
This particular episode has very little of Ginger, who is meant to represent just being fabulous. We do see a fair bit of time spent with the Howls, which the ongoing joke is like, so for a 3-hour tour, they packed this many costumes. And at the time, as a kid, I'm like, yeah, that's dumb. But now, as a grown-up storyteller, I understand, no, that's hilarious. Like, the more costumes that they just happen to have on them.
Well, yeah, I mean,
because they're rich, the better this is.
Yeah, I mean, it speaks to that the running gag in this episode, I don't know if it's in the series, is that the skipper gets his foot wet. That's the gag in the cold open, and then that is the gag later, is that Gilligan gets his right foot wet. That's the running gag, is that the skipper's right foot gets wet.
That's
the wet
wild
foot.
Because the part that I noticed is the diminutive language that he kept using. Like Skipper always calls him little buddy, and is always kind of like maybe I've just read the Status Game too recently, but it's like oh no matter what the situation, just keep punching down on Gilligan.
Yeah, but like that is what like a through line of comedy would have been in 1966, was he got his foot wet. That is the punchline to the cold open, is that the skipper steps in a bucket. They've got buckets also, and fishing lines, and a plow.
I cannot believe that you have not yet brought up the very synthetic laugh track in this clearly filmed comedy.
I grew up with laugh tracks. I'm not bugged about laugh tracks. Yeah. Did it stand out for you? Because recently, I guess it's been a while since I've watched anything with a laugh track. Maybe.
Yeah. Well, I grew up with laugh tracks being there, but I grew up in an age where everybody went out of their way to say filmed in front of a live studio audience, which I now realize was code for this is not a laugh track. These are actual people laughing in the moment at the Cosby Show, etc. Same with Seinfeld and all that. So
sure.
To go back to, just by 2 decades and encounter this moment where nobody knew whether or not to worry about whether it's a laugh track or not was strange for me Also, oh my God, everybody's teeth was yellow.
I didn't notice that. You always pick up the. I didn't notice that.
Production brain. I have.
It's not you're just looking at people's teeth.
I have a disease. It's called production brain. I see it. I see things now. Like for example, the sprinklers spraying in the background around stuff, and
Oh sure. I mean the lighting alone. It's so I'm sure they did what they could with the stages that they had. Well, but at no point do they attempt to light this at all, like an island or a beach.
To state it plainly, it's clearly shot at a mini golf course.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. Which is fine. That's fine. Like
it takes a bit to get into the groove of that becoming fine.
Yeah.
But also, like, the bit of the professor essentially being God and Marianne being the girl next door.
Okay.
And Ginger being the fabulous projection of what you would imagine as a teenager you wanted or whatever.
Yes.
While meanwhile, the Howells are your aunt and uncle who are of means.
I don't need to. I understand the characters. I don't think they're complicated.
Okay.
I get. Yeah, there are archetypes.
I am unpacking my rediscovery of the characters as, oh, these are all like just strip everything away, strip any nuance away, just make it as simple as possible.
1960. It was 1966. Yeah, like yeah.
I did not realize how simplistic it was. I also didn't realize how much I would enjoy it, because ultimately I enjoyed it very much.
It was good.
It took me a little bit to kind of get into the groove. How did it land with you?
I felt the same way, especially with the very slapsticky intro. I thought it was just really short, you know? Like, if you did this show nowadays, everyone would have had a superpower. I was waiting for, like, okay, so then what did the other guy? Oh, and then she liked this, and when he kind of liked that. So what is it? What's the other? Because the other people didn't have superpowers. They just were also around at the same time. But nowadays, you would make a whole season out of it. You'd make a whole show out of this.
So I guess I'll confess this. So falling asleep to anything interesting is difficult to me. So what I've been doing lately is when I wake up at 3 a.m., I will play old-time radio shows from CBS.
Okay.
And it's always suspense. And they're always like the dumbest, most obvious plots, which is why I'm able to fall asleep to them. And then I wake up in the morning and I was like, what was I even listening to? And I'm like, oh, yeah, that was dumb.
Okay.
I love that it's dumb. I love that this is dumb. This is so dumb, Bryce. This show's so good. This show is so good. It's so dumb. It's so dumb. It's good. It's like you can tell what they're doing. And if you can't tell what they're doing, they stop the story to explain to you, hello, this is the radio to remind you that radioactive vegetable seeds are floating around Hawaii, and they're bad. They're definitely bad.
Yeah.
Now back to, I think it literally says, now back to popular music.
Pleasant Island music. Yeah.
Yes.
Which, like I dig that. Like, there's a layer of irony there. There's some I dig that. Yeah. It's good. I don't know. Yeah, it is good, dumb fun. But I do think, like, the sense of, like, Dan Wally in our chat says, this is why I like sitcoms. Dumb is fun as long as it's not cruel. It did feel like it did feel like that. I don't agree with the level of cruelty. I think maybe this is not.
I was surprised.
It was kind of
at how, I don't know if it was intended to be such, but I was surprised that in this year, 2023, at how cruel everything read.
Kind of for no reason. I didn't understand that like, maybe I should have paid more attention during the theme song. Why everyone just hates Gilligan for some reason.
I think it boils down to, like, if you're going to call the show Gilligan's Island, you better not let Gilligan be the hero. You better always make him the punching bag.
Sure. And slapstick comedy, like, that's how you do it. You gotta slap somebody. So
there was a lot of, and they love to repeat those bits, and they love to re-explain. And
what did you think about the state of the art special effects at the end? When
they sped up the video, or
no, when they when they ate the soap to cure their radiation and bubbles came out.
Oh, I love that. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. You can definitely see one of the bubble blowers very prominently.
I also definitely caught that.
Yeah.
Still loved it. I will say that there was some clever design work in, like, somebody spent some time thinking, like, okay, my job is to make the perfect cob of corn. What if the perfect cob of corn didn't have a beginning or an end, but instead was a circle? And it's like, that's the kind of, like, I don't know, mushroom trip thing you would think of if you're in Hollywood at the time. And then it's like, oh, what about the green beans? They'd be circles too, and so on.
See, that was the thing that got me. Like, ring beans is right there, but then they did pretzels instead.
Yeah. Also, I got annoyed when it's like, if pretzels, if only we had beer. I'm like, you dumb. You have corn, you could ferment the... And then I suddenly remembered I was watching Gilligan's Island.
Excuse me, Skipper. You actually have all of the ingredients for life.
Well, technically.
If you get some yeast.
Okay, so what kind of grade do you give it? And should people watch it on Tubi, where it is free right now?
We watched it on Tubi. Did you see any ads? I didn't see any ads.
I only saw one ad.
I didn't even get...
And it just kind of came and went.
I didn't even get that. I wonder if... But this is my first time
I
using
would
Tubi.
imagine there's some amount of tracking, like, oh, this is a new IP address.
Oh, could be.
New person. Let's not show them very many ads until we find out what they like. Yeah.
I would say I would give this, like, a good 6 out of 10. I would say that this is a 6, and Gilligan's Island can thank me for it.
But you didn't hate it.
I didn't hate it. I think, in today, to put it on the line for today, I'd probably put it as 6. Like, I see it, I get it, like, very, obviously very influential, and this episode in particular is, like, the stage effects that they do with the chair.
It's so clearly just a stage play. It's really fascinating. Like, if you have an eye for production at any level, it's really, really fun to watch.
The prop for the tree,
the giant log,
is great. Like, it looks good.
It looks like a big 1,000-pound log.
Yeah. So I like, it's good. I think I get it. I don't. It gets so low just because I don't know that it holds up enough to, like, binge it. But I don't know. I watched one episode of it, and who knows?
I would say that upon this revisit, from a production side, it is hilarious to watch them pivot from what is clearly a soundstage to what is clearly B-roll with more scratches on it.
Sure.
All that stuff is very fun for me. What does not hold up is the constant repetition of who they are and where they are and why they are, where everybody is constantly saying, like, Gilligan, I'm only being mean to you because I want you to be your captain someday. Like, that is tedious, but I understand that it is of its time.
Yeah.
Outside of that, the fact that it's just a naked assembly of, I don't know, 5 to 7 vaudeville classic gags, not bad. Also, didn't mind seeing the wicked high on meth trope of cleaning everything because you have too much energy played out with Mrs. Howell.
Well, I mean, okay, children have sugar rushes. It's a sugar rush.
Sure.
She has sugar beets.
This is also at a time that diet pills were sold.
Yeah.
And they were just meth.
Yes. Okay. It's not like it's gritty subtext about it. It's just like that's the hyperactive person of the day. Because sugar. I mean, you give kids sugar, but she's an old woman, and but it's the kid. Yeah. Anyway, Gilligan, 3-hour tour. How many hours of a tour would you give it?
I would give it 3 out of 3, man.
Wow.
I mean, it's like
That's really Gilligan to your island.
For being what it is. To be honest, I'm really impressed, and I'm pleased that you had a good time, given how how over the top this particular episode was.
I don't think truffles have seeds. Truffles are mushrooms. I don't think truffles have seeds.
I think the writers knew that, and they found that funny. And
It is funny.
There's a lot of winking going on this show. We know just how dumb this is.
I do love. They pull up the turnip with the 4 things. They go, "Oh, I've never seen this before, except on a cow." Like, you know what? Yeah, okay, that's okay.
Okay, and sorry. Spoiler alert. At one point, a boat comes ashore, and they're trying to figure out how to use the boat to get off the island because I believe it's a famous rock band. I think the Birds are on there. And they're trying to figure out how to sneak away. And the professor with a straight face is like, well, I'm trying to figure out how to replicate their spark plugs using shells, but it just hasn't come together yet. It's like the writer's room is definitely like, say you're trying to do a thing with the thing to make the thing happen,
Sure.
or whatever.
Well, like, they have a watering can. They have a whole nice designed, carved watering can. It's so good. It's like it is.
I'm very thrilled that you had a good time because I was really afraid that you were not going to have a good time.
It was solid. Yeah. Any other thoughts on Gilligan's Island here?
No, 3 out of 3 shells.
3 out of 3 shells. There we go. Thank you for joining us here on Spoilerin Time. I think we'll be back with Miami Vice next week.
Yeah, probably. We'll figure that out.
We'll find out.
By the way, pretty good week if you wanted to become a patron, a boss.
Yeah.
Yeah. After talk is going to be interesting.
Patreon.com/Cordkillers. Check it out. That's where you get access to the after talk, get early access to Spoilerin Time, get the easy RSS feed, all that stuff. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Bye.
Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.